Hi, it's Peter from Teach Me Maths. We're going to do decimal multiplication now. Hopefully you've already watched the long multiplication video. Okay, so I'm going to obviously be doing some long multiplication in this video, but I'm not going to describe it in too much detail because you can learn that in the other video. Okay, but let's just get straight into it. Let's have a look at a question and set up really the method for doing decimal multiplication. Now the good news is you don't have to do decimal multiplication. Okay, the correct method for doing decimal multiplication is not to do it. Okay, so what I mean by that is we're going to change this question into 28 times 3. Okay, and then you use the methods that you've learnt in the other video or that you already know. Okay, and look, I'm not going to dwell on this too long. Look, 3 28s are 84. Okay, so that's all well and good, but the original question was 2.8 times 3. So what we've got to do is we've got to look and think, well, we changed the question, but in what way did we change it? Okay, if we look at these two numbers, okay, they changed. Okay, whereas these two numbers, they didn't change. Okay, so we've got to make the correct adjustment to our answer. Okay, now this is a fairly straightforward one. Okay, 2.8 has been made 10 times bigger. Okay, to get to 28, or you can think of it as moving the decimal point one place to the right. Okay, so what you do is you take your answer of 84 and you do the opposite of that. So you either look at it and think, okay, well, we times one of the numbers by 10, so we divide this answer by 10 and get 8.4, or you can think of it as moving this decimal point back one place. Notice where I put the decimal point. And any whole number has kind of like an invisible decimal point after that whole number. Okay, so whatever number you've got, you write it down and then you've got an imaginary decimal point after it, and that will allow you to then move it back, which is more useful for slightly more difficult questions, which we'll come to in a minute. Okay, but the basics of it, I really want to get this across. You mustn't do decimal multiplication. What I see is people write it out like this. Now the thing with this is you may well get it right if you do this. Okay, you may well put the decimal in the right place, but then what happens is when you've got a different question, you maybe get that wrong, and you're sort of wondering why. Sometimes you get the questions right and sometimes you get them wrong. Okay, just don't ever do decimal multiplication and you should be able to get it right pretty much every time. Okay, so let's move on. Let's make it a little bit harder. Okay, let's do a 2-digit times a 2-digit. Okay, so let's go for 2.4 times 1.6. Okay, so again, I promised you never need to do decimal multiplication. You just got to change these numbers to whole numbers. Okay, so this time we've made this one 10 times bigger, but we've also made this one 10 times bigger as well. Okay, so we're going to make the correct adjustments for that after we've done straightforward long multiplication, 24 times 16. Okay, as I say, if you're not too crash hot at 2-digit times 2-digit long multiplication, go and have a look at the long multiplication video, break it down in a bit more depth. Okay, 6 times 4, 24 carry 2, 6 2s are 12 plus the carryover. Okay, and then that's kind of like the 6 has been used up, so then we do 1 times 24, but it's this 0. This is a 0 that lots of people forget. If you don't put that 0 in, you're going to get it wrong, I'm afraid. Okay, so you just have to be in good habits with this. Okay, so 384. Okay, but that's the answer to 24 times 16. So we're now going to make the correct adjustments. Okay, and I think the quickest way to be doing this, and we do need to think of quick ways for QTS. Okay, we really let's do a different colour. Rather than thinking of it as times 10 and times 10, just think I'll move that one 1, that one 1. Okay, and you basically add these two numbers together that I've circled. Okay, so if you moved it 2 places to the right and another 1 1, that would be a total of 3. In this occasion it's 2, so you move this one back 2. Okay, and you get 3.84. Okay, let's move on. Let's do another one. Okay, to be honest, what we've done there is the gist of it. That's the main thing, really. Okay, but let's just look at some maybe different sort of numbers that you might get. Maybe 0.12 times 0.7. Okay, so these are sort of, you know, 0 point somethings. Okay, it doesn't make any difference though. Okay, because look what I'm doing. Okay, changing them into whole numbers. Okay, so let's count those decimal places. 1, 2. Okay, 1. Okay, so after we've done the multiplication, we're going to move the decimal back 3 places. Okay, but let's get the multiplication done. Look, I tell you what, I'm not going to write that out as a long multiplication. I know my 7 times tables. Okay, sorry, not 7s, 12 times tables really there. Okay, so it's 84. Okay, but you've got to move it back 3 places. Okay, so if we write 84 again, put the invisible decimal point in. When we move it 3 places this time, we go 1 and then 2. Now if it was 2, the answer would be 0.84. You would just put that extra 0 in. Okay, but we've got to go 3 places, so what that means is we need to jump over this 0 as well. So we end up with this number. Okay, so the extra zeros that you need to put in when you're dealing with small numbers like this can confuse people, and again, it's well worth practicing. These are very easy to make up. Okay, you can just make up similar questions and check your answer on a calculator. Okay, and if you, I mean, let's say you did this one and you got, let's say you got this answer of 0.84 and you put it into your calculator and you got this answer of 0.084. That would show you that you've got the correct digits. That means you did the 7 times 12 correctly and got 84, but you haven't moved the decimal into the right place, and you can maybe go back and have a look and see where you went wrong. Okay, if you've got the different digits, if you don't get the 8 and the 4, then fundamentally the long multiplication has gone wrong and you haven't got the correct answer to 12 times 7 or whatever the question is that you're doing. Okay, so hopefully these methods will help you. I'm going to give you a question that I've certainly seen in the QTS, and it was an area question, but area of a square or a rectangle is just 2 numbers multiplied together. So if you had a square with sides 2.5 meters, okay, and you were going to find the area, okay, then we need to do 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, and the correct way to do that, okay, it's not the only way to do it, but if you can do this 2-digit multiplication, okay, now again I'm not gonna kind of go into this in too much detail because it's covered in the normal long multiplication video, okay, but again, just to point out, this 0 is the one that a lot of people forget. Okay, so 25 times 25 is 625. Can you see we've moved the decimal 1 place here, 1 place here, total of 2, so the answer is 6.25. And look, I've kind of stopped writing every single little bit out and moving the decimal. As you practice it, you'll be able to do the same. When you first start, write it out in full, put the decimals in, put the little arrows in and move it, but as you get more confident with it, try and develop a little bit of speed with this, but that'll only come with confidence. So don't try and break the speed barrier at the beginning. Get the questions right first and then increase your confidence, and that will then increase your speed. Okay, so best of luck with that. Okay.